A lot of people are wondering how were the devs able to create Dustborn with the amount of money that it usually takes for these games to be made, with the absolute disaster of a launch that this game is at, with only having 75 players in the 24-hour peak. Well, it was all ESG loans, and I've been saying that countless of times throughout these videos. That is how they're able to fund a lot of these DEI media outlets or these agendas or narratives that they want to push is through these ESG loans, whether it is here in America or in other countries, which is what we're seeing with Dustborn here being funded by the Norwegian Film Institute. And before we dive more into this, please don't forget to subscribe, like, or dislike. It doesn't matter. It helps this channel, and I much appreciate it. And a lot of this information is coming from Grumz, who you can't forget was a OG lead on the original World of Warcraft, also being a producer on Diablo 2. As we get into it, Dustborn used far more government money than has previously been reported. The Norwegian Film Institute funded the game for 14 million kroner, or nearly 1.4 million US dollars. This is in addition to the 150,000 euros from the Creative EU grant program. And I mean, are we surprised that Dustborn was funded through ESG loans by other countries? Absolutely not. But what I find funny is that these government agencies are supporting pretty much people that despise the government, as we've seen with hints within this game, which is also stated right here. Dustborn is basically an Antifa training game. You bash the fash across the divided states of America by using vocal powers to call people racist. With the game absolutely failing with the player count, this is all no surprise. It's been covered numerous of times. And as we continue, he has more to say. The company Red Thread Games looks to be funding multiple games throughout the use of these government grants. The games do not make money, as you can see from the Steam charts below to their prior games, Dreamfall Chapters and Dragon, which apparently also do have good reviews on Steam. But once again, there aren't that many people that are playing these games. As you can see right here, all-time peak for Dragon was 240 players. And then on the other side, you have Dreamfall Chapters having only up to 1,700 players, where these people, these government agencies, are spending millions and millions of dollars on these developing companies, these developers and publishers, just for their games to fail and go absolutely nowhere. Their existence seems to be dependent on repeated grants, waste of taxpayers' money that fund games that fail over and over again. The company seems to be grifting off EU taxpayers' money. Oops, I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. Which are awarded in part on ESG criteria. Remember when people denied ESG grants for indies existed and called everyone a conspiracy theorist? The Norwegian Film Institute focuses on productions where the percentage of women in key roles is a factor. Once again, a factor that is nowhere to be mentioned across any of these statements is if the person is competent enough. It's always about the DEI and trying to fulfill those promises in order to get these grants. Their latest project, Svalbard, has received nearly 11 million kroner so far, or equivalent to about 1.05 million USD and 150,000 euro more from the EU Creative Program. And as you can see, there's a trend here with, again, if your game has all these DEI requirements or elements, you're probably going to be getting these grants by these countries and being able to at least produce your game. And then you're also having even more funding through publishers such as Quantic Dream. But I'm not going to be getting into this because it's essentially the same thing over and over and over again. However, what I do want to get into is the Norwegian Film Institute and their pretty much white paper explaining what they're all about. And as soon as you go onto their site, and as soon it's like right then and there, audience sustainability. But the thing is, they don't know how to sustain their audience because every time they support these companies continue to get backlash with hardly to little to no players playing their games, just ending up being a bunch of waste of money that went nowhere, except people losing on their taxes even further, going to useless things such as this. And the white paper opens up with this statement. In the Norwegian Ministry of Culture white paper, The Power of Culture, issued in the autumn of 2018, relevance and representation, of course it's going to be that because you're talking about ESG right here, is one of the cultural policy objectives. The paper emphasizes an increase in representation across the board, a more diverse recruitment in cultural and culture-related professions, increasing cultural diversity, and reaching new audiences. But the thing is, a lot of these people don't care whether these people are competent in the work that they are doing, which we are seeing now with Dustborn being exposed by having a developer appearing to at least copy certain assets from Grand Theft Auto. These are how lazy these people are. I think that within their interviews, they just have to check off their boxes. They have to say, "Oh, I'm into diversity. Is this firm inclusive enough? Does this firm have a good culture?" And as soon as the interviewer hears that from the interviewee, it's like they landed the nail right on the spot and they're going to land the job because their values matches the employer's values as well. And again, it is continuing to fail. And right here it says, what do we mean by inclusion and representation? Norwegian Films Institute's work on inclusion and representation is essential for reaching these objectives. Norwegian film culture must be able to reposition itself and innovate in tandem with the changes in the overall society of which we are all a part. And so these are the things that have to be included within whatever product that the Norwegian Film Institute is funding. You have to have gender, ethnicity, indigenous people, national minorities, age. Of course, you have to have sexual orientation of the LGBTQ plus, geographical location, a disability, and of course, a social background. And of course, with all of those requirements, we are continuing to see games fail in this fashion because they are not sticking to good storytelling, good gameplay, and not sticking to trying to appease the overall gaming audience and not just a minority that make up hardly a percentage of the population. And with all that in mind, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.